Welcome to the Been There Doing That podcast. I'm Robert Scrivener.
And I'm Gayla Scrivener.
We left the 9-to-5 grind, downsized, and our goal is to have freedom to live and to work from just about anywhere.
We're glad you joined us for another edition of of the Been There Doing That podcast. And today we're going to talk about our solar setup.
Solar setup.
Solar's been important to us over the years, I think.
Yes, we've had several solar panels. 3 to be exact.
Just 3.
Just 3.
We've reused and repurposed our 3 solar panels when we got them.
Over the past
6 years?
6 years, yes.
We started using solar on our RV in about October 2011.
Still in Florida.
We were still in Florida, and that's
Sunshine State.
That's before we even started our full-time lifestyle in the RV. Because I remember that RV parked in the backyard of our rental house that we were renting down there in Florida. And as I reflect on that, it's like, how did we ever get that in there?
It was
because it was surrounded by privacy fence.
All the way around, and other houses and trees.
Had to go down the alley.
First drive home, we knocked off the vent cap for the bathroom, and also busted the vent fan vent.
Yes.
Closer thing, because it's duct taped.
It's duct taped, and that duct tape has lasted.
Gorilla tape.
Actually, it is Gorilla Tape. Gorilla Tape
works great.
We have not replaced that vent cover
yet.
We should, but we haven't. It hasn't leaked, and it's decorative.
Well, the black tape goes with the white RVing, so
there we go. It's contrast.
Mm-hmm.
But the solar did not come with the RV, but why was it important for you to install solar?
Well, way back there, reading about people being off the grid, I guess you would say. Boondocking was one of the things, not having to be plugged into shore power all the time. You could still have your refrigerator and stuff go. Of course, there was refrigerator does run off propane, so we could run it off propane and have electricity at nighttime when needed. Charge stuff, all stored in the battery banks, and that's the main reason. Didn't want to be plugged in all the time.
And you did your research, and at the time, you found our panels. We had.
Let's back this up.
Okay.
Let's go back to whenever we were first married.
All right.
There was a solar panel involved in that.
Oh.
Yes. The little solar panel.
Okay, what size is that?
It was a cute one. It was 20 watts.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it on our converted U-Haul trailer.
The honeymoon suite.
The honeymoon suite.
Now, guys, I want to point out.
Oh, boy.
That I must be a very tolerant woman.
You're special.
I'm special, you say. Because we got married in 2010.
Yep.
And for our honeymoon, we were going to go down to Alligator Alley or down
Everglades, yes.
The Everglades. I was not going to tent it. Not at all.
You were not going to stay in a tent in Alligator Alley.
Mm-mm. A buddy of Robert's had purchased a U-Haul trailer.
Mm-hmm. He was using it as a kind of a band equipment trailer, and it was an enclosed trailer, so it was and
you had used
an older
for that.
one. I've used it for moving stuff, and
yeah, and so you built this little U-Haul trailer to have a bed in it, a little
it fit
vent in it,
a blow up queen size air mattress, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had storage underneath where you could lift up the air mattress and have storage underneath, put your chairs, and had a battery section in there for the solar.
Yeah,
and had a vent on top to have air come through and circulate the air.
Did you get that solar panel through Harbor Freight or anything?
No, HQRP.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I was blocking that out, but I forgot that we've had that solar panel for that long.
Yeah, it's a 20-watt one. Does about 1.28 amps on a full sun. I mean, that's the max it can do. So have it always pointed right at the sun all the time would get maximum output.
When we were camping down there with the honeymoon suite, we pulled it behind our Jeep. And what was that little tiny solar panel running?
It was running the lights and the fan. Well, the fan actually was solar powered.
Oh, it was like a little fan, air vent thing.
A vent fan.
Because you cut a hole in the roof.
Cut a hole in the roof, installed that, and then it was a vent fan that was solar powered. And the little solar panel was powering the batteries, which ran the inverter for whatever known reason we had to have an inverter. So I don't think we did much with the battery.
Well,
cell phone, I think, or something at nighttime.
We camped, and there was no shore power, was there?
There was no shore power. There was no power. Collier State Park. We camped in the tent section. No power, no plug-ins.
Well, so we had our first solar panel, a little one, in 2010. Then we jumped ahead to 2011.
Got 2 more.
And you got 2 more. Tell me about
bigger
those.
Ones.
What are those?
Well, those were about 125. I guess they're 125 watts each, and they roughly do about 7.2 amps on maximum. And they weigh about 22 pounds. They're a monocrystalline panel as well as the other little 20-watt panel, and they were a pretty good size. I think they're about a 30 by 50 inch. 30 inches by 50 inches, and they can charge a lot of stuff and charge your batteries a lot quicker. So about 15 amps max total between all 3 panels.
So we installed the 2 big panels, or did we install all 3 of them up on the roof of the RV?
We had all 3 of them up on the roof of the RV.
And then we had...
There's pictures we can put in the show notes.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
I know. From Florida.
Well, I remember you had to put, it's almost like a phone cord type thing from the roof down to...
the battery bank.
The battery bank, and... covered
up the wires and stuff.
I tried out the horn while your head was underneath.
Yeah, and I whacked my head. The air horn works.
I never did that again, but I still remember it.
Yeah.
And there's a what is that thing? The controller?
Oh, the battery charge controller. It keeps the batteries, because most solar panels do about 17 to 20 watts normally, but to control that, you need a charge controller. Brings it down to a safe operating level for your battery so they don't overcharge quickly.
And you're always missing, or you have like a monitor that you had.
Yes, there's a monitor on the dual charge controller, which is it's a Sunsaver Duo SSD 25 by Morningstar, and it's a dual battery charge controller, so you can have 2 separate batteries hooked up to it, or 2 separate battery banks if you want to do it that way, and monitor the input and the charge rate on each battery bank.
That setup worked for us pretty well, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
And we moved to Colorado for about 3 or 4 months, and we made some improvements. Well,
we put actually a kind of a hinge on there where we could actually tilt the panels, so lower in the afternoon time or whatever, you can tilt them towards the sun and get more out of it.
Now, I can't remember, when we were in Colorado, did you get up on the roof a lot, or did you always just have it tilted and then you laid it down when we were ready to go?
I always got up on the roof a lot.
Well, that was good exercise.
And it worked out well in North Carolina on the Outer Banks when we was out there. Because there was no hookups out there either on the Outer Banks.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So that improvement helped quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so you would park knowing where the
sun is.
The sun was, and how the solar panels
Which
needed to tilt.
way is kind of south and west.
Mm-hmm. Now that we've been in Missouri for a while, kind of parked the RV, we're kind of under some trees, so we haven't been using solar on the RV for
we're plugged
a couple
into shore
of years.
power.
And we're plugged into shore power full time. So the need for solar on the top of the RV hasn't been there for a little while. And we switched gears, so to speak, and wanted to travel the less beaten path and travel smaller in our Subaru or Jeep and our rooftop tent. And oh goodness, was it last year or the year before?
2015 was when we first took Subaru.
With the rooftop tent.
October
of 15.
Yeah, we went to Tennessee and for a month.
And we needed to work while we were gone.
Mm-hmm.
We also had our little refrigerator that runs off 12-volt or 110. And that came with the RV. That's a little Norcold?
It's a Norcold, yeah. I don't know exactly how big it is, but it's a good size, but it's not too big that it can't fit in the back of the Jeep.
Or the Subaru. And what's great about that, we use it for a refrigerator, but it can also be a freezer.
Yep.
Like a deep freeze.
Yep.
And so the challenge was we wanted to be able to boondock, just like what you wanted to do in the RV, and not be dependent on shore power.
Yep.
Because we never know where we're going to be.
Still don't.
And so I know that your mind was turning on how everything was going to work out. And we decided to repurpose our solar panels.
Yeah, we wanted to try to take one with us whenever we went to Tennessee in October of 2015. So we took the small one.
Only the tiny one?
Only the tiny one.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. We had a 1,500 watt inverter that we also took also. And I don't remember the brand of it, but I've had that inverter for a long time, and it's still going.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it longer than I've known you.
Well,
and that's a long time.
It's been a good inverter.
It's been a good inverter.
Well,
on that trip,
yeah,
the little solar panel, it could not keep up with charging.
I do remember that you were kind of stressed out and always poking the buttons.
It could not keep up with the refrigerator, which we would charge, or we wouldn't charge the refrigerator. We would plug in the refrigerator going down the road in parallel on 12 volt with the battery.
Well, I think we need to back up just a little bit. How did you have batteries set up in the car? We have our car battery, but then you had purchased two other batteries that we put in the floorboard in the back seat. Yes,
I had two 100 amp hour AGM batteries that I had bought from a local dealer here in town, Ellis Battery, and they were supposedly factory seconds. They're supposed to have top post only, and they came out with top post and side post, which was okay with me because I was putting them in a battery box and had two of them. They were discounted rather heftily.
That's awesome.
And I'll take them. The AGM battery, deep cycle, and I had them behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and hooked into the charge controller. Each one had a charge controller, so it could be charged independently. And then I had Anderson power poles that I use for quick connect and stuff to the battery.
To the main battery, because isn't that
The main car battery.
so?
I was running parallel, and you could charge from the cigarette lighter or straight run wires to the main battery itself and charge from there.
Well, I think it blows my mind that we are charging all 3 batteries through the alternator while we're going down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we did mainly on that first trip. Because and you were always looking at where the batteries were, and we needed to think ahead on our
what do we need to have charged before we stop tonight?
Exactly. And
computers.
We would charge. We'd have the inverter on going down the road, and I'd work down the road and make sure that everything that I needed,
cell phone batteries, and
all of that were charged.
Backup charging batteries. Batteries for the refrigerator.
Yes.
Batteries for our digital cameras. There was a lot of batteries to keep charged.
And then if at the campsite we'd be working and had to be aware of how much battery I was taking for office work.
Yeah.
So that was kind of stressful.
It was kind of stressful. On a 20-watt solar panel, just could not keep up.
And that was our baby one.
Yep.
And then our second trip, we added one big panel.
Second trip, we went to Arizona. And that's when we found a way to fit the 50 by 30, 125-watt solar panel in there, in the back of the Subaru.
Well, we made up a
cover for it.
But then the way that it was packed in the Subaru, it was kind of like a ledge. It hid some of our stuff, and it was easy access. It was a ledge for
a flat space to set stuff on.
And every time we got out, you would install it and have your quick Anderson power poles
that quick connect to it, and it goes wherever you need it.
And that was a little less stressful because we ended up spending several days without shore power.
Several. About 10 that I know of.
And
had the refrigerator going the whole time, computers charged.
Yeah, I remember you not being nearly as stressed. I mean, you still constantly looked at it, which I'm appreciative of, and because I don't understand all of that.
It's above your pay grade on that one.
It is above my pay grade. And because watts and amps, it's like you're talking cursive to me.
Talking in cursive again.
Then, let's see, our most recent trip has been we moved the rooftop tent from the Subaru to the Jeep.
Yes.
And what's cool about that is that the solar panel fits on top of the Jeep along with the rooftop tent.
Yes, it does. And I leave it up there full time.
And that is fantastic. There was not enough room to do that on the...
It would not fit inside.
Well, that's true. It does not fit inside because the Jeep's so
smaller.
Compact.
It's smaller.
And on the Subaru, it won't fit on the roof along with the tent.
No. And it's funny how the tent looked bigger on the Subaru than it does on the Jeep. And the Jeep is a smaller vehicle.
It is. It's taller. But it sure does fit differently. And you do keep that solar panel on top of the Jeep. Plugged in all the time. We moved those batteries, so we still have the same type of setup. 2
batteries, 2 AGM 100 amp hour batteries behind the seats, locked down. And it's we can charge in parallel if we want, but I mainly have the solar going to those batteries by the charge controller, so they're independently charged if that's the way I have it set up. And while going down the road, we just plug the refrigerator into the 12-volt outlet. So that way our batteries are full whenever we get to our campsite. And we can switch the refrigerator over to the battery bank, and they can run off of that all night.
And since it's usually cooler in the evening time, we kind of
Back down the thermostat.
back down the thermostat, and we haven't had any problems with that. And you've installed the inverter kind of permanently. I mean, with
semi-permanently.
screws.
Yeah, it's screwed into the.
And then the back, and then when we need it, if I'm outside and need it, then I've got the little extension cord. If we're in the...
It's right there by the back driver's side.
Mm-hmm. And then when we're driving down the road, we can...
run an extension cord up front.
Snake an extension cord. And we still have to plan ahead, which makes us think outside the box a little bit more.
It keeps us on our toes.
Well, we've ran a lot of different things besides just our computers.
Yeah.
On the inverter.
Well, that inverter we've had during the ice storm back in 2007, I think it was.
Oh, in Missouri.
In Missouri.
When we were living in
full time in Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And it ran the washer, not the dryer. And it ran a George Foreman grill. And it also ran one of the milk barn heaters when the power was out. So you would have your engine running, sitting there with an extension cord going from the inverter. The inverter was hooked up to the battery, and extension cord going in the house, and you could run whatever you wanted to off of it, up to 1,500 watts.
That's amazing. Now, that ice storm, we were out of power for probably
9 days,
9 or 10 days. And I don't know why you were running the washing machine. I think you just wanted to see if it would do it.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so.
It worked, though.
And so I really like our setup in that we're able to be off-grid, so to speak, and not be...
dependent on other people's power, shore power, or having to be plugged in all the time.
However...
Connected.
However, it does put a little bit of stress on you when there's clouds or it's rainy and things like that.
Yeah.
So you have to be flexible. And
batteries can take a lot more than I think they can.
Yeah, you like to keep them full.
I like to keep them full.
But you do a fantastic job keeping everything running, that's for sure. And I know that these panels are big and bulky, and in our future will be some sort of...
a diet of panels.
A diet of panels.
Yes. I know.
What's your dream?
They make, well, at the moment that I know of, that we seen at the Overland Expo last year,
mm-hmm.
they had flexible solar.
Oh, that was awesome.
You could roll up, or you could lay flat, stow away, nicely, attach it to the roof of your tent while parked, bungee cord, zip ties, whatever, and it's flexible.
Yeah, something that's lighter.
Right now that we have is glass, and it's 30 by 50 inches. And
26 pounds?
22 pounds.
22 pounds. It is heavy.
Big and bulky, but it works for us right now until we...
until we want to spend the money.
Spend the money to have flexible solar.
And we're not ones to get something that's right out of the gate technology-wise. We've kind of wait a little bit.
Let the price come down a little bit.
Right, get the bugs worked out and get the price down a little bit. So we're using what we have and enjoying that. Oh, something else with it's, even though the solar panel is on the Jeep full time, and I know that you kind of, when you work as a welding inspector once in a while and you have the refrigerator in the back of the Jeep, you're kind of a novelty, aren't you?
I guess so. Yeah.
You take your lunch and put it in the refrigerator.
Put it in the refrigerator, and was always had cold lunch at work, and cold drinks.
Yeah, because that was like a factory of some sort.
Yeah.
And
plus, I also ran the ham radio off of the batteries.
Oh, yes.
Running, portable operations for ham radio out while we was gone.
Well, was that on solar or was that on the car battery?
That was a majority of it was on solar until recently.
Well, recently you've had some problems with RF
Yes.
on your...
Yes.
Are you proud of me knowing this stuff?
You should just take the test now.
Oh, nope. But the RF on your radio was terrible.
Yes. I could not get out and had some bad grounding issues going on. So.
And what did you do just recently that helped that a lot?
Stopped running on solar.
And you moved it
went directly to the battery.
to the car
battery. And that helped tremendously.
And so you're able to get up to 100 watts and
Output.
Yep. And be able to talk to the boys.
Talk to the boys. Yes, that was a mystery solved right there. It worked fine in the Subaru, but ever since I moved it to the Jeep, it just hadn't been right, and I'm glad that's fixed.
So do you think that it's just because the Subaru and the Jeep are grounded differently?
Well, I don't think so.
Oh.
I think I have to figure it out, but running off solar, you're not bonded to the chassis on the car or on the vehicle. So when you run power cables from your radio to the car battery, it's grounded from the negative side to the chassis and through all the panels, and did some extra grounding and bonding and stuff like that. So it could be different.
Well, now that you have we're using the Jeep full time for our rooftop tinting at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
Could always change. Sometimes we take the solar panel off, and then we use our walking sticks to be like lean the panel against, so that you can
tilt it.
Yeah, point it where it needs to go, because we don't have a tilting on the Jeep yet.
Nope.
That may be down the line, but right now...
Well, I think down the line, we just need the flexible solar.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's just get rid of the glass and get some flexible solar.
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be easier, less weight. Can store it a lot easier.
Yeah, my upper body strength is not that fabulous.
Oh, we're working on it, though.
But that, in summary, all of our solar, I'm very pleased with. And I love how we have our 3 batteries, our car battery with 2 extra, and we're able to drive down the road and charge up all batteries when you have the magic plugged in right.
Yeah, it's sorcery.
It's sorcery. And then when we need to use solar, we've got it.
And we've got, I usually just run the refrigerator and the inverter off one battery. Then if something happens, there's an extra battery that's fully charged.
Yeah.
Because I don't touch the other battery. So we got 2 extra batteries, not counting the car battery.
Now, did you figure out how much, how long things can run on the battery?
No.
Well, when we were at Overland Expo West last year, we were on solar the entire time because there were no hookups.
We were parked 9 days
without
plugging in.
And when we were...
That we know of.
Yeah. When we were there at Overland Expo West, we didn't have any problems.
Nope.
With
Arizona, it was nice, optimal temperature, a little breezy.
What is optimal temperature?
I think 77-ish.
When it gets too hot, it's not
as efficient as 77. I think that's the magic number. I have to do some research, but I think 77 magic number for solar panels.
And that's why you want to travel around and always be in 77-degree weather.
No, 75 or less.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then your solar won't be as efficient.
That's okay. I'd like to be cool.
Well, I think we've talked a lot about our solar. I hope that's helped everybody
help
or
somebody.
give some ideas on maybe someone else might want to do a solar setup in their car. Or if they have done something, I'd love for them to
post pictures,
comments, send us an email at podcast@beentheredoingthat.com.
We'll post some pictures of a setup and the batteries and the panels and stuff like that in the show notes.
We're glad you stuck with us through the episode and would love for you to subscribe to our podcast.
That's right. We'll catch you all later.